Okay, how's it going, guys? As you can see in the title of the video, I was curious on what these tyres actually are like, physics-wise, and how close they are to a real tyre, and see if we can figure out what, um, if they are done for a real tyre, if the physics guy's done a specific, which he probably might not have, but if he's done a specific physics for the dirt tyres. Um, and see if we can find out exactly what compound these tyres are and what the temperatures are. So this is basically just testing. I was going to do a video and edit it and then upload it, but as my other videos I've done, I've just live streamed it, gone straight off the cuff. So I thought, why not just do exactly the same thing? So it might be tedious. You might see me because later on we're going to get on the track with the wing sprint car, and we're going to do laps and that. And we're going to see what the tyres actually do, and see what temperatures they are, and what wear rate, if there is any wear rate, or what's the maximum temperature before you start losing grip or whatever. So, because I noticed last night when I was running the late model on Eldora, and that the track was pretty good. It was slick and that, but I noticed as the race ran on and the track was getting slicker, but the front end started to push a lot more than the rear end was coming around. So it was like the right front tyre was getting hot. Must have got too hot, and it was just causing the car to push more going into the corner. And that, so it made me think it might be interesting to have a look at these tyres and see what difference they make. So the plan is we'll go through, we'll talk about the tyres, and then I've got a page open on here. So what I'll do is I'll transfer this over, and we'll talk about the tyres, and then we'll do some laps in the wing sprint car, and then what I'll do then is I'll then load up the non-wing sprint car, the latest version, and we'll give that a run. I'm not doing this in VR tonight. This is all done on the monitor, and that, so you might have to forgive me for the not so good driving and that, because I'm not used to the monitor. I've got 3 monitors, but I've been doing VR for a while now, and yeah, it's once you've ran VR, you really don't want to go back to a monitor. But anyway, so I'll move on. So this is who's your tyres. Um, they used to have a booklet, but now I did a search and they've now got it in their frequently asked questions and that on their website. So if you go to their website, who'syourtyre.com, you click on tyres, dirt, oval, and the frequently asked questions, and you'll come to this page here, where they discuss about the tyres, bleed off valves, the tyre pressures, and like here, and you're looking at a right rear, cold to a left rear, cold and stuff like that. So you can check all this stuff out. And then you've got here the sprint car guys then have their compounds, and so does the late model cars have their compounds too. So you'll see here soft to firm. The softest is a D10, and then yeah, you've got the hardest is down here, and that depending on the um, series that you're running, if like in a real car, and that depending on what series you run, it depends on what they choose to run on that right rear to keep everything equal. But yeah, you'll see here you got D10, RD12, D12, RD15. So when you get like a D10 and a D12, uh, they're just like they're a normal compound, but these RDs are got two compounds in one. They have basically an R, which is the D10 on top of the D12, and that, so it will get hotter. It will burn that soft rubber off at the beginning, and then as it gets down to the harder tyre, it's also got the temperature in the rubber, and that, so it basically gives you the drive at the beginning of the race, and the track's a bit grippy, and then it as the race goes on and you lose some of the tyre wear, it gets down to the harder compounds. So that's basically what that is. We'll scroll down and we'll get to the temperatures. Here we are. The temperatures are down here, and if you have a look at number 8, they're talking about the temperatures, and it also talks about the best tyre combination for Eldora and also for Williams Grove, and that's so. For the D10, optimum ambient temperature, and that is 200. RD is 220, and then you get down to these other ones here, and they vary depending on. So you can see this one here. It will say like a D12, 150, 160 Fahrenheit to 250. Then you get to an RD15, it's 160, and then you get to 230. You think, oh, what's going on there? And then you have a look at the D15, it's 160 to 260. You're going, well, why is the one in between a D12 and a D15, why is that a lower, higher temperature? And that's because of basically the temperature of that rubber that's above it. That would be a D12. That's then getting super hot, which will then cause the D15 to be a lot more softer, and that's why it will wear a lot quicker. And that's so. This is what we're going to be looking at. We're going to look at temperature-wise the tyres, and we're going to see exactly what compound they actually are. So that's the goal of this video. So what I'll do is I'll now transfer this to the car, and we'll go into the garage, and we'll just do the standard iRacing setup. Eldora, Eldora Slick. We'll do that one. Open it up. Rightio. So this is what they've got. So we'll just run their base set. The difference is we won't do 30 gallons. We'll only do 15. Otherwise, everything else is just going to be left the same. Going to leave everything the same. So basically, because you're going to be running a set like this. Pardon me, if you're going to be running like if they do a fixed server or something like that. So you'll know, but it also then gives you a baseline. If I had my way, I'd probably do a base set straight off the blocks, but as you can see the track here, I've gone to 100% slick, and that so it's going to give us the best chance to get these tyres hot as and quickly as possible, so we can see what they're doing. So righty, I'll get this in. I'll turn the sound on, and we'll give this a run. I think I'll also turn the sound down so you can hear me talk. Alright. So I've put the tyre temperatures already here, and that's so we can see this go as we run them. Whoa, yeah, I haven't played the monitor for ages. I'll have to move it forward. So I get this a bit better for me, so you can get a better watch. Give it another go. Whoa. Yeah, she's definitely loose. This is iRacing's base set. It's interesting. look at the tyre. Seems to be getting hot on the outside, considering on a real sprint car, the inside of the tyre on the right rear seems to be getting hotter. Yeah. No. I'm looking at the right front at the moment. On a real sprint car, the two hottest points is the inside of the tyre, and then as the car slides, it will then slide under the rim, and then start getting hotter closer to the centre. But usually the inside of the tyre is always hot. That's why you see a lot of guys, they side the tyre or they groove the tyre to get the heat to transfer across the whole entire tyre. So the car's hooking up nicely now. And that's at 95 Fahrenheit. See if I can get a bit higher the track. No, low line seems to be the best. As I get on that slick, she wants to just spin around on me because of the stagger. Yeah. So it looks like the temperature at the moment, we've only done a handful of laps. She's sitting on 95 on that right rear, 89 Fahrenheit on the inside of the tyre. So it should be, especially because of the stagger being, so he's got 9 inches of stagger on it, so the axle itself should be causing the outside of the tyre to be off the ground, unless we're going into the corner where we then sucking under. Yeah, so you can see there's no tyre wear whatsoever being added to these. I don't think they've, because I don't race pavement, so I'm not sure exactly how they do that on there, but looks like on the dirt side they haven't added tyre wear in, and the tyre temperature doesn't go up very high, considering like she's sitting on 95 Fahrenheit. She should still be going up, considering how many laps I've just done. But the tyres are definitely driving. The car's nice and tight. I'll move the wing forward a bit, see if I can loosen it up a bit. Yeah, as soon as you get on that slick. So this is probably the reason why we're also having dramas on a slick track. So the tyre should be able to get hotter than that. See, we should be Yeah, see, we should be able to get the tyre nice and hot, nice and sticky. So what we should be doing is, on that slick there, the tyre's hot and sticky. She should be, if you run like a super soft tyre, like a D10 on a track like that, the tyre will be getting that hot, it will start laying rubber down. That's why you see the tyre, the track there black. So what will end up happening as the race wears on and the slick track is getting the tyres hot, and she's spinning the tyres being a sprint car, high horsepower engine.
We're out of fuel.
Being a high horsepower engine, we should be the sound off. Yeah, being a high horsepower engine on a dry track like that, the rubber should be getting that hot that it should be laying down rubber, and that or just smoking the tyre and just blistering the tyre. But as you saw there, it was let's go in the garage. See, we got the temperatures now. See, maybe it's just the what do you call it, the UI inside the car, and that they might need to fix that. See, now here we go, we've got the temperatures properly, and that. So we did a run. Tread remaining still at 100%. There's no tread wear. So what have we got? The tyre was absolutely driving, and it was running at 192 in the center. It should be it's the outside edge, outside middle, inside edge. That's the way it goes by the looks of that. Holding on it. It says in the bottom there. Outside edge, middle, inside edge, temperatures. The tyre rubber. So I was looking at the inside here, thinking this is the inside, that's the outside. Where that'd be the inside, that'd be the outside. But they've got inside, outside, middle, inside. So that's the reason why the inside of the tyre is now getting hot. So we've got 170, 193 on that right rear, and and we're just running on the in the grip there, and every time we get into slicks, you just want to spin around. So what I might do is I might give it another run, and we'll see when the temperature actually starts coming in, so we know now. But I didn't know about that UI not picking that up. As soon as you turn the thing up, as soon as you go to the garage now, it gives us a proper temperature, which is interesting. Anyway, so I'll give another run, and we'll get to see what the temperature is when she starts getting a lot of grip, and then I'll exit out and I'll have a look at it. She's already sitting at that. Is there a way to reset it? I wonder if there's a way to reset it. I'll have to reset the setup, I suppose. Our door is slick open. Alright, so we reset that. What do I do? I drop this back down to 15. Right, we'll just do that. We'll give that a run. So the tyre should be set back to, yep, 78 Fahrenheit. We'll give that a run. We'll wait until the tyres start gripping, and then we'll exit out, and we'll see what it's doing. She's loose, which is normal, got fuel in it. Still a little bit loose. It's now starting to drive. I'll hit that slick. do another lap just to make sure that, yep, the tyres are now gripping. Alright. Yep, tyres are now gripping beautifully. Alright. Let's exit and see what they are. Rightio. So the tyres started gripping at 156 Fahrenheit. And that's so. That was the left rear. Sorry, the right rear on the inside. Going off this here, what it says. And that outside, middle, inside. Outside, middle, inside. Oh, it says there inside MO. That's interesting. Okay. Inside, middle, outside. That's what it says here, temperatures. But it's weird considering the outside of the tyre is harder than what it is on the inside when it should be the other way around. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So okay, it's sitting at 156 Fahrenheit. And that, so let's go back to the temperatures here. And okay, ambient temperature, and that should be at 200. And that's so basically what we've got tyres that they've decided to do is D10, which is on here. If you have a look at here, it says Eldora. Track types, the best is a D for a left rear, a D for a right rear. And that also says here, good balance between left and right rear tyres is also important. A good rule of thumb is that the left rear should be 20 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than the right rear. One exception is a high-speed, high-bank track like Eldora. At Eldora, we typically see left rear temperatures about equal to the right rear temperatures. Common pitfall is that if the tyres are running too hot, it is not always the best thing to run a harder tyre. A harder tyre provides less traction and will spin more, which will in turn run hotter. Sometimes a softer tyre will hook up the car better or grain a little. Both of these conditions make the tyre run cooler. With an RD tyre being high traction tyres and a dry slick track, the D10 type being for high heat, high speed tracks. These are few of the most common combinations. So they're running a D basically a D10, and that, well, that's what it seems like these tyres are. So the tyre temperature, it's coming in within a couple of laps. So we'll have a look. How many laps did we do? On that last run there, we only did 1, 2, 3. I felt the tyre coming in here on lap 4, and I did an extra lap. So within 4 laps, so it's basically a D10 compound, and that, so they're a soft tyre. Which is interesting. So you can work out setup wise with that, and that you know you're going to get certain amount of drive, which is quite interesting. What I might do is I might give a run. It might get a bit boring for this part of the video, but what I'll do is I'll give it a run, and we'll see the how much tire, how hot the tire will get, and that after the run. So what I might do is I might reload this setup. Eldora Slick, open, which is full tank of fuel. Wheel spacing is all the way, that's probably the reason why it's used loose. What I might do is I might bring that all the way in like I usually do, and I'll give that a run. We'll see how it goes. set up. Slick. Open. Should have set that back to 0, shouldn't it? See if I can get these tyres down to a base. I'll load one of my setups and then... Is there a way to reset it? There's got to be a way to reset these tyres, temperatures, and that's we've got a baseline to start off with. Right, keep setting it back to that. Maybe I was just lucky before it reset it. Apply. $69C. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a D10 compound. Rightio. I'll give that a run anyway. And we'll just go do as many laps as we can and see how hot we can get these tyres. See, right now the tyres are gripping a lot. Don't know what temperature they are. We've already done a fair few laps. They're already at a high temperature when we started. So don't know what temperature they are now, but I'm going to keep going. Going to do a big fuel run and see what temperature they are when we finish this run and see how the car's handling. Because we did that run before, it was only 15 gallons and the tyres were driving the whole entire time. So now this is 30 gallons on a super slick track. So I'm probably going to wear this inside line out, so while I'm doing that it's going to also be putting temperature in the tyres, so see what it's going to be like when we finish this run. Right, now the tyres are that grippy, even though the track's starting to slicken up where I'm running, the car's pushing in the middle of the corner and coming off. So the tyres are really, really hot now. Now getting harder to turn into the corner. She wants to push going into the corner now. The tyres are driving that much. And coming off the corner. You hit that slick, as that left rear hits that slick, and that she wants to bring the bum around. But you can put that right rear into the slick and there's no dramas whatsoever. And now the tyre's hot. Yeah, she's pushing like a dog right now. So the rear tyres are getting that much drive, considering the temperature they probably are, that they are, and there's no tyre wear in the sim, so because if they're probably still doing more physics testing with the tyre model constantly, so It'd be interesting to see what temperature these tyres are after this run. I don't know how much fuel I got left. Have a look. Ooh, keep going around on me. Hang on. See if I can get this to show up. Got 7 gallons left. So I'll finish this run. The good thing about it too, this sim is, you can see I'm running down the bottom here and I'm throwing dirt up onto where the slick is. So I should be able to get up there on that, probably hit it a bit and it just wants to go around at marbles, which is interesting. So, rightio, keep doing this run. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you should be able to see my hand constantly having to turn left. The car's pushing that much, the tyres are that hot. She doesn't want to turn in anymore. I had to get off the accelerator to turn in then. Again. So it's either the right front that's getting too hot or the rear tyres are that hot, they're just gripping that much. We'll have a look when we get into the pits.
You have about 5 laps of fuel left.
Yeah, right now she just does not want to turn. This is what the drum I had last night in the late model. And that on the slick track here, where I was riding the brake, or tapping the brake going into the corner to get the car to pitch into the corner. And then as the race went on, she started tightening up that much, so this is the reason why I'm doing this video. And she's pushing like a dog.
That's it, we're out of fuel.
Right. That's the run. Let's have a look at the temperature of these tyres. Garage. Here we are. Look at the temperature of the tyres. So, we're at 202, 195, 147. Yeah, see, the reason why that's the right front tyre is hot is because of the left rear weight. This car's running left rear weight, because you can see he's taken the turns off of here, they put turns on there, and that's so basically we run left rear weight. So yeah, it's 202, and the car just started getting tighter and tighter, and that as the race went on, and that so that being 202, that'd be right on the limit of a D10, and that so yeah, once it gets past that temperature, that's when the tyre will start blistering. And the other thing too is, see, there's no tyre wear. They've got tire tread remaining, but there's no tyre wear, and that's so. Yeah, it's probably the best thing for them to do would probably to go and see sprint car teams, and maybe considering they've been to Eldora, might be wise to go and speak to Tony Stewart and see if we can sit down and have a talk with their crew chief for the sprint car and talk to them about tyres and what compound does how many laps at a certain track and that. So that's the sprint car. So what I might do is I might throw up this banner again and I'll load in the non-wing sprint car and we'll have a look at that car. Yeah, so it's interesting what tyre they've put on the car, and considering the temperature it was at, it's yeah, on a track like that, yeah, it's probably right on a tacky track, but on a slick track. That's probably when things change. Like as it says, it's a D. They recommend a D tyre, and that's so not an RD tyre. It doesn't matter what D tyre it is. It just said D tyre. So a D left rear, D right rear, and that's so. Um, Still loading up the non-wing sprint car. So probably, well, looks of that, it's either they've got the compound done as a D10, and because it's done as a D10, and that it's yeah, it's good for a tacky track and that. But yeah, they haven't added any tyre wear in, but they probably won't add that in until they get the physics right. Once they get that physics right, then they can then probably look at doing the tyre to the track compounds and wear rates. Even if they just leave it as a D10, at least put the wear rate in, and then that will then change the dynamic of the racing too. So because then it comes down to tyre preservation and not just you go flat out through the corner. You also got to be careful on how much you get on the gas, and that if it will then fry the tyre and start blistering the tyre, it gets too hot, and that or if the track gets slick, you got to then got to be careful with tyre wear, and that so if you it then becomes more throttle control, and that not just trying to stay on the grip or stay on the cushion, and that you also then once the cushion starts wearing away and the track's going dry, like going into the corner, it starts getting dry, and coming off the corner it's getting dry, because that's where rear end sliding around, and then you're on the gas coming off the corner. Well, then you got to look at the track slick as as you can see going down the main straight. Transfer this over, and that you can see here, and that where it's slick, and that so if you decide you come off the corner and you're hitting the slick stuff, and you get on the gas too much, it will then wear a bit more of the tyre down. But then you might go, okay, um, I've been conserving the tyre for 25 laps, a 30 lap race, and that. So you go, okay, I've been conserving the tyre, being consistent laps, staying with the leader, and that, uh, and you can see the leader has been using his tyre up to stay at the front, and then you go, okay, I've got 5 laps to go, I've got plenty of tyre, and that feels like I've got plenty of tyre, so okay, I'll now start getting into it, and see if I can get him the last 5 laps, or try and get, or if you might be down the back there, and you might go, I might see if I can get on the podium the last 5 laps, and so then you start putting your foot down more, you start using more tyre, and that's the part of dirt racing which some people don't get, is it's not just trying to get the car to set up properly so it's at the end of the race. You also, the driver then's also got to then um, compromise on how he's going to run the car, and that to try and get the tyres to last till the end. You'll see some guys they'll run a soft tyre, the softest they can get, and that for the track the way it is, and yeah they'll run conservatively, keeping the spin of the tyres, keeping the tyres underneath them, but try not to fry the tyres too much, and then at the last end they'll probably work out the best time to then get into it. It'll be a last 5 laps or last 3 laps, and that depending on what they're after. So what I'll do now is sprint car non-wing. We'll give this a run, and we'll go slick track. Right, I'll pull this wheel in as far as it can go. Get this ready in. Right, we'll give this a few laps, and we'll see what these tyre temperatures come in at, and see what their when the car starts hooking up, I'll exit out, and then we'll see what the tyre temperature at, and we'll see what compound they're running in these. Whoa. Yeah, I'm not liking the rock screen. I might remove that. Garage, rock screen. Right, give this another run. It's a bit hard when you're not in VR, but as soon as you get on that slick, she wants to then spin around on me. So I gotta get used to slide the car in earlier so I don't get that slick. Tyres are now starting to come in, feels like. Oop. Oop. This is a bit hard to drive when you're me when I'm not in VR. Yeah, feels like the tyres are now starting to come in. The thing is, as soon as you hit that slick, she wants to spin out on you. I'll give it another lap to make sure they're nice and hot. Yeah, she's tyres seem to be nice and hot now. Seem to be doing what they should be doing. So let's have a look at the temperature. Right, garage, 150. Yeah, the D10s. I've got them on both. So that's a base tyre that they've put on both cars. Is a D10. How many laps did that do before they come in? I feel like they come in around about here. Yeah, so it's exactly the same as a wind sprint car. It's around lap 4, lap 5. You can feel the tyre then starting to drive. So you can look at that for when you're doing your setup, so you know, okay, the tyres now are going to start coming in on lap 4, and you'll know as the tyre gets hotter and hotter, it's going to be getting more and more drive. So what you could do is you can look at that with your setups, and that's so you can set your car up probably a little bit looser than what you normally would, because usually you try and set the car up for the last bit of the race, and that so this with this physics at the moment, the tyres are coming in on lap 4, and as you would have saw in the wing sprint car, near the end of the run there, the car was pushing big time. So that means the tyre temperatures were at the maximum on the rear end. On the front, um, they were coming in. See, like the tyre temperature starts coming in at 150 degrees Fahrenheit if you have to Celsius 60 degrees, which is what the D10s are. D10 um, in the Hoosier, and that their starting temperature, working temperature is 60 degrees um, Celsius, and the maximum, um, which was I think it was 200, yeah, which is 200 degrees Fahrenheit. I can't remember what that is in Celsius. Um, Yeah, so it's basically a D10. So as I said, you can then set your car up, even though you've got the extra fuel in there. The car's going to be loose at the start anyway, and that so you got to compromise between how loose you want to go at the beginning of the race to how you want the car at the end of the race. Because as you would have seen that video I did um, of last night's racing here at Eldora in the late model, uh, the car started pushing big time at the end, and that so you can then factor that into the racing because um, also I noticed the tires do cool down under yellow, and that so um, you would have seen last night I was moving the car left and right to try and get the temperature in the car, the tires, and that so try and keep them at a good temperature. Um, so I knew how the car was going to handle. Usually the sprint car guys in real life, what they do is once they got the tracks at a good um, base, and that depending on how slick the track is, and depending on how hard they're running their tyres, you'll see some of the sprint car guys when they're rolling around, they're giving them a squirt, and that just to keep because also they run bleed off valves in their tyres, so they got to keep the air pressure in them, otherwise the tyre will go down too low, and then once that starts doing that, they start getting hot on the sidewall, and then they'll blow a tyre, and that so well there's the base of the tyres, so consider that when you're doing setups. So if you're, that's what I noticed too, was when I did a change my setup, and that before you go back out the track, just to check your tyre temperatures here, because that's also going to change your setup on your car. So you might go out and you'll go do a quick lap for your first couple of laps, and then your time will start slowing down. You're going, what's going on there? The track's is it getting slicker or what's going on? Um, it's basically look at your tyre temperatures and see what tyre temperatures they were before you went out again. Like if you've done so many laps and then you've changed your setup, gone back out again, your tyre temperatures could still be at the optimum temperature. That's the reason why you went quick the first couple of laps, and then as your lap racing went on, and that your times might have started to drop down for some reason. So consider that in your when you're doing your setup, and that it seems that it's a big factor. And look at your racing and what you're doing, where you are on track, and what your car is going to be doing. Do testing, and that's all I can say is do testing. So hopefully, well now I know personally that now they're a D10 tyre, so I can, and there's no tyre wear, which is um, which is okay for now. Once they get the physics, hopefully when they get the physics sorted out with the sprint cars on dirt, they will then start adding tyre wear in, and that so, which then if they do that, they'll probably end up having to change the tyre and that to suit um, the racing. So if they're doing 30 laps or 35 laps or whatever, the tyre temperature plus the tyre wear's got a big combined depending on what compound they decide to use, and that so then we can then work out okay how much throttle control you need, and that to conserve the tyre, and that for the last bit of the race. Otherwise, you'll have someone will just stand their foot on the gas and fry a tyre up, and get the thing too hot, and then once it's said, like if the tire gets too hot, it will then start laying rubber down on the track, which will then cause the tread to wear down a lot faster and blow a tire. So um, hopefully they'll add that into here. I don't know what it is like on pavement, but if they've got tread remaining on here, that means they've got to be looking at that later on down the track. So that's it for this video. It actually went for an hour. This is actually knowledgeable for me because I didn't do any testing like this before, and it was on my mind this afternoon. So I thought I'd do this video and check it out myself and um, show you guys so you can see what's going on. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions um, or any comments and that, don't hesitate to post. If you've got a question on setups or something like that, if you're struggling, and you can ask, you can put a question there, and that saying the car's doing this at this type of track, what should I do? And I have no dramas in putting a comment saying you can do this, you can do that, and it will help set the car up a bit better. And that so any questions, I'm pleased to answer. Okay, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope it was very informative for you. Thanks for that, guys. See you next time.